because Primal came up with a really, honestly, it's pretty revolutionary implement for self-defense called the Tom Knocker. And it really kind of fits in with one of the truisms of self-defense. I've said it, and everybody else has their own way of saying it, but it's nonetheless true. And it's this: the secret to winning, if there is winning in self-defense, the secret to survival, I should say, is being able to bring more to bear before your opponent even realizes what's happening. So the idea then is to be able to employ something, be it an empty-handed technique, be it an arm technique, whatever you find yourself needing to be able to do. So Tommy Knocker. How did that happen? The secret to this Tommy Knocker is the fact that it's flexible. I've pretty much, this is one of the ones before he did the spray adhesive, which is a great thing, except for this one I wanted it to be a little more flexible. So I worked some of the knots a little loose so that it's flexible. And I'll go into that in here in a little bit, but because it's flexible like this, it allows it to be concealed under your clothing. Okay, so if I just tuck this right in my waistband and just push it down, now you leave that little knot that he has just barely poking out. That gives it a shelf on which to ride. So if I have a tight belt, it'll hold it there all day. I've had it right there over the past couple of weeks. No one has ever noticed it, because seriously, notice it. It's hard to notice, even with the carabiner clip on it. They still have a hard time noticing it. It's got that shelf to ride on, so that I'm good to go there. And even if I want to conceal it even deeper, I can just use the clip to clip it onto my belt or a belt loop or whatever. Put your shirt right over it, and no one will never notice it. One of the great things about that is as you're walking, because it is cloth, essentially it's rope, so it's cloth-like, it'll work with you, it'll move with you. When you sit on it, and you will sit on it from time to time, that's just the nature of the beast. When you sit on it, it doesn't hurt, because there's nothing sharp or hard poking you. Okay? But if you ever need it, it's right there. Okay? It might catch a little bit at the end depending on how tight your pants are. These shorts are very, very tight, so, because I've really cinched them down for concealed carry. But because I want them to be able to hold the weight of a gun. But if they're within reasonable tightness, Tommy Knocker just comes right out and it's right there. Okay? So let's look at the differences between it and a knife. Okay? Now, an XL Voyager is about the longest knife that you'll see out there. See the difference? Look at the difference in reach. I'm not going overall distance with the knife, because you don't hold the knife here. when you're fighting with it, or when you're using it. The furthest back that you'll hold it is there, maybe. So, okay, even from the maximum length. See the difference? What am I getting at? The Tommyknocker has the advantages of the Tom. It has the advantage of range. It also has the advantage of being flexible. Okay? So when that punch comes towards me, okay, no, I don't care what position I'm in, but just arbitrarily, we're going to be talking this way. When that punch comes, because it's flexible, it wraps around the arm, which allows me to rip that down. Okay? So when the punch comes, boom, I'm knocking it out of the way. Boom, I'm coming back towards the head. Boom, I'm coming down across the top. Okay? The idea is to be able to bring more to bear faster than what your opponent expects it. Okay? Like I said before, you can use the carabiner, you can use the full length, you can let it be flexible, like mine, and it'll wrap. Because it wraps around that arm. Boom. Now I can use that to pull my opponent out of the way. Now I can use that to off-balance him. Okay. I can use that to entangle, whichever way I decide to be. So not only can I use this as a striking implement, but it's an aid to my grappling as well. It gives me a longer reach to grab. And now, even if my opponent is wielding a knife, could he cut the rope? Sure. But the trick is that if he cuts the rope, he's going to be focused on a small area. Right? Because he's got to hit it, even with a long knife or a large knife like this. He's still got to hit an inch, inch and a half area with his blade. Cutting, right? He's still got to hit this at speed. And the speed we're talking about is that type of speed. And he's got to hit that with a knife? Are you kidding me? So yeah, he could cut through the rope. It's going to take all his focus away from it. All his focus is going to be trying to hit this rope, which is exactly what I want it to be. Because now his focus is on cutting the rope, not cutting me. Whereas my focus is to be attacking him directly. See, my focus is no longer on the knife. When he's using a knife, I'm aware of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm aware that that knife is around. I'm aware that he's using that knife. But I'm also taking account for his entire body structure. And that will tell me how he's using that knife. Because I don't care if he's using a knife or his bare hand. His body structure is the same. He will not use the knife much differently. He cannot use his knife unnaturally, is what I'm saying. Okay? So, if he's focusing on using the rope, or on cutting the rope, that's fine. Because now I'm focusing on his structure. And he's distracted by the rope. And that's what I use to my advantage. Just an idea. And for some people, it's a new way of looking at it. So, thanks guys. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your time. Defend your homes wisely.